Well, hey all, I hope everyone's home and doing all right. I'm missing you here on campus. Wish you were on the field trip with us today. We're here at the Carlsons, the Wildwood Ranch. Going to learn about maple syruping today. So we're going to meet Ben and Tom and Shelly Carlson. They're going to tell us about their operation, something that's been in their family since 1979. Take it away when you're ready.
All right. Hi, I'm Tom Carlson and my son Ben. We have the Wildwood Ranch Maple Syrup here. It's a farm that the family had and sold to the park, and quite a few maples down here. Ken?
Yeah, it became a park in 2007. It was in the family for 50 years before that, and we started making syrup here, my grandpa did, in 1979, so we were kind of grandfathered in to make maple syrup here, which is nice. We have an agreement with the county to do some interpretive programs, and so that's how we get to continue to do this.
This has been a good season. We started March 1st. We tapped 28th and 29th of February, and the trees ran after that. We've been making syrup steadily this year.
And what do you guys usually produce year to year, syrup numbers?
We're on that 300 to 500 gallons, depending on the year. Last year was a great year, 500. The year before that, about 250.
Mm-hmm.
We have about 1,800 taps the last couple of years. 15 days, 16 to 1,800 taps. 1,100 of them, or 1,000 of them, are on vacuum.
1,040. Yeah.
Okay, 1,040 on vacuum. You'll see that down there. It's on a sort of a high vacuum. It's a good vacuum system. It's not as high as most maple producers go up. You'll see.
The rest of the buckets, the rest of the taps we have are usually on buckets and bags. There's an area of the woods we'll show you where the vacuum system can't quite reach there, so we have to do some bucket and bag taps there. We also have about 150 on 3/16 gravity lines, and those work pretty well.
It creates its own vacuum, and it sucks sap out of it just like it was hooked to a vacuum pump, provided you have enough height. St. John's had some of that too.
And we also have my uncle Fred and his neighbor a couple miles east of here have about 300 taps on buckets as well.
They've been that over the last 3 seasons, so it's up to about 1,800 taps.
Nice. And total family operation?
For the most part, yeah. Friends and family pitch in here and there. For the most part, it's us two, my mom, my sister, and a couple of my uncles and cousins that help out. Alright, so here's our vacuum system. We're out in the woods now. You can see the lines coming out of the trees. These are 5/16 diameter taps running into 5/16 diameter tubing, and those go downhill to the 1-inch main line down there, and then those all slope downhill to the pump house, and the pipes get larger as they go down the pump house. Eventually we get to 1.25-inch pipes, and there's various formulas that tell you what size pipes you need. 1.25 is big enough for our biggest main lines, because we have kind of 2 main lines here. This valley that you see right in front of you is about 300 taps. We call it the south line. On the other side of that ridge beyond me is a larger valley that has about 750, 800 taps in it, and that's called the north line. So the main thing with the vacuum that you have to keep in mind is it all has to slope downhill. It doesn't work really to pump sap uphill. There's ways you can get sap to go uphill, but it requires a lot more plumbing. One thing you can use is a sap ladder, which basically, if you have a 1-inch line that goes to a low spot and you need to get over a hill, you attach a bunch of smaller 5/16 lines to that, and the capillary action will actually siphon the sap up to a high point, and then you can go back to a 1-inch line. Luckily, we have enough slope that we don't have to do anything like that, but we do have to make sure all of our lines are sloped downhill. Alright, so here we are at the main line. The lateral lines are coming down the hill from up above, and they're sloped down from the top of the hill down to here. They connect to the main line here, and this is called a saddle. It's basically what we do is we drill a small hole in the top of the main line, and then we clamp the saddle on here, and that's kind of how we feed sap into it. Alright, here we are at the pump house. This is kind of the heart of the whole vacuum system. You can see 3 pipes entering the building. The one to my farthest right here, that's the north line. That's the one coming from the north valley with 750 taps. And this middle one here is the south line, coming in from where we started out, 250 taps or 200 taps. And they come into the vacuum pump here, and there's a releaser in there that separates the sap from the air, and then once you get enough sap in the releaser, it will trip a pump that will pump it up 3 gallons at a time through this pipe here to our tanks at the sugar shack. Here we are at our tank stand. The pipe you can see coming up from the woods here, that's our transfer line from the pump house, so that's where all our sap from the vacuum lines comes in, and it goes into one of these 3 tanks. We have 545, 400, and 600 gallons, so we can hold about 1,500 gallons here of raw. It's the reverse osmosis shed. We've recently renamed it the laboratory.
Nice. All right, so we're in the sugar shack now, and so you're running through the RO, getting it up to 8 or 10%.
Yep.
And now it's cooking time.
Yeah, so now it's
Alright, so this is our evaporator, and every 20 to 25 minutes we open it up and fill it full of wheelbarrow full of wood. You can see these air levers here. You can hear the fan blowing back there. It's injecting air in the bottom, in the front, and in back. A good turbulence to burn up all the BTUs and gases that are in a piece of wood. None to waste. Very efficient. Okay, so I shut off the air. Get it ready for the next load. Double fire.
This is our tour of Wildwood Ranch. I hope you saw some cool things here and some things that really are different than what we do at St. John's with their reverse osmosis machine, their pipelines, their vacuum pump. Seeing in the shack, they've got some cool technology going on in there, including the filter press and the automatic draw system. So some neat comparisons for us from what you saw at St. John's last week.